Another day, another storm. That's the reality of living in Iceland during the winter months. And I guess one really starts to notice any minor weather changes when you live outside of the town, or as in my case, alone in the middle of Tröllaskagi Mountains, one of the snowiest regions of Iceland. This night we got a lot of new snow, which brought back some memories from a very challenging winter of 2019-2020, when my cabin ended up completely buried under the snow. But I will get to that later.
Okay, so it definitely looks like I have some shoveling to do today, and all this, I wasn't here yesterday. I shoveled everything, but all this snow here actually came from the roof, so I just need to make a little path to the shed today and maybe clear the snow from the roof there. It's a lot of weight. And I actually had to move this table from over here yesterday, and I'm glad I did, because I just didn't want all this snow to fall on the table and then break the window. So this was a good idea. But yeah, let's get to it. We have a lot of work to do today. Okay, that's not too bad. Oh, it's much heavier than yesterday.
This amount of snowfall is completely normal here during the winter, and we get snowstorms like this regularly. But the year 2019 was different. It started off with a record-breaking snowstorm, which lasted for 3 whole days, and many places, including mine, ended up without electricity for multiple days. Winter then continued with frequent snowstorms and mainly strong winds, which caused all the snow to drift a lot and bury everything that standed in its way. In my place? Well, this is how I found it when I once came back after 1 week. This here is my entrance, and I spent first 2 hours just trying to get inside.
And the level of the snow that we had, it was completely insane. Like, I can actually show you. So this little hut was basically buried all the way up to the roof, and I remember I was standing up there, and right here the snow was reaching almost all the way up to the top of the roof here, which is insane. And I was actually very lucky, because I had my friends here who helped me to dig around the cabin a little bit. And I was just afraid, because it is a little bit off camber there, that the snow, as it gets heavier, will just push on the walls and damage the walls somehow. But luckily that didn't happen. And then right here at the back of the house, the snow was reaching all the way up to the roof, and you couldn't walk around. Everything was completely buried. And at the back of the house I have a outdoor shower, which is now right here, but before there was nothing around the shower, and so it was just a hose leading outside. And as everything was completely buried, the only way to get inside was to sort of like slide in, and it was very sketchy, because as you were showering in the hot water and it was cold outside, then everything got very slippery around it. So I remember one day I had actually problem to get out of the shower. Right, I was just naked with my towel, and I was struggling to get back up, which luckily nobody saw because that was hilarious. Okay, so this is more or less done, and I just need to get a ladder and get all this snow from the roof because it is getting quite heavy, and then maybe try to get this down, because once it fell on my head, and just trying not to repeat it again. So this is actually my second project that I've been working on. I built this a year ago, and you may have seen it in one of my previous videos, and I just recently built this, or have been building this kitchen. Still not finished, hoping to finish it next summer. But yeah, this is where I'm staying when I'm basically renting the second hut as an Airbnb. So if I'm not traveling around in the van or camping, this is where I'm staying. And it is super small, but it's cozy and it's enough for one person, you know. And it is a pretty nice view from up here. Basically see into both valleys and all the mountains around. But yeah, basically it's still not finished, but the sink will be somewhere here, also the composting toilet, and then right here a little kitchenette. And I did these little windows from like a PVC plastic roofing, so it's got this nice 180 view. So I think it is always better to do it now than have it all later on my head. So mission accomplished, but before we call it a day, there's still one more thing that I have to do, and that's to go and get a fresh drinking water, because that's something that I don't get here during the winter. It just freezes over and I only have a warm water, which is like a geothermal origin, and it's not very suitable for drinking. And the mountain spring that I have to get to is located somewhere there, about 800-1000 meters, and you just have to get there on the skis. And that's another little disadvantage of being here in the winter, but I mean, things like that, we can just call it a free gym or something like that, right? So I found a spring, but it has nearly disappeared, and I really need this to stay here for the whole winter. So I might just help it. It really feels like being on another planet at this light. I don't know how it looks on a GoPro, but it's getting dark, and it is this like really dramatic gray, bluish, and again it is sort of a calm evening before wind picks up tomorrow.
Temperature this evening was close to -20, and at this point this is where my GoPro died. But I managed to fill up the water and head it back home. Since the time this video was shot, a lot of snow has melted, and I am now very impatiently waiting for some new storm, because honestly we could really use a refill now. But maybe better nothing as crazy as in 2019.